I've got a bit of a different video today. I'm going to be talking about my opinion on the current state of the longsword, and to keep you entertained, I have some gameplay in the background. At this point, I have a lot of longsword experience at all levels of play, but remember that these are just my opinions, so let's get into it. The longsword is a bit of a one-trick pony. If you're not going for parries, then why would you ever use it over the falchion? But the real problem with it being a one-trick pony is that parries are not entirely skill-based. Many times I've watched back my deaths and I have my sword in the perfect position, and the enemy's weapon will go straight through the middle of my blade without a parry going off. So the longsword heavily relies on server performance, which, as we all know, has been terrible lately. So this is really frustrating in normals, but infuriating for high roller. If you're going against a fully juiced up plate fighter or barbarian, you need to be on your best game, but for longsword fighters, you can do everything perfect and still just get owned by desync. The recent buffs to the damage and movement speed were nice, but a little misguided in my opinion. With Riposte already having a 187% damage multiplier, I wasn't feeling a lack of damage for its buffs. The movement speed, on the other hand, is really nice and definitely noticeable. But if you're in high roller, you're most likely in full plate or near full plate, so you'll be outran by most people you're going to fight anyways. The only solution I found to this is relying on the regular longsword attacks more, specifically the poke. Most people you run into once you're past Pathfinder will know how to fight against the longsword and be expecting you to parry. So if you can just control the spacing and get a hit or two off to make them charge and swing at you, then it's a lot easier to surprise them with a parry. Crossbows and Francescas are obviously great options, but I try not to participate in the ranged and ranger meta since I find it boring. The longsword is still my favorite weapon in the game. I just wish it was a viable option. The number one thing the longsword needs, by a mile, is large improvements to the server performance. But the mechanical change I'd like to see is to buff up the regular attack of the longsword. I'd be totally happy if they removed the extra damage buff we just got, and replace that with some quality of life on the left click. Make their first poke come out faster, and even have a slightly higher on-hit slow. I'd even support lowering the riposte damage multiplier in favor of making the regular attack more viable. That way, it'd be less of a noob trap and be able to compete with the likes of the falchion. The last thing I'll mention is that some of the other recent changes to the game have also affected Longsword Fighter. The new Golden Caves is a lag fiesta to the point where I just don't play Longsword in the Golden Caves anymore. Which is sad because that used to be my favorite map for PvP and making videos. Additionally, now we can't queue for the crypts, so we're stuck in the ruins, which is a scary place for a slow fighter who doesn't like to bring in ranged options. I just don't think the Longsword fits into competitive play right now. Unfortunately, competitive play has turned into a ratting competition. You can hit Demigod with any class and any build by just avoiding combat and looting. And I'd even go further to say that if/when they add an arena to this game, it'll make PvP completely taboo in the dungeon. So if you're a longsword fighter who loves PvP, like me, your best bet for now is to just run some normal lobbies and be prepared to die to desync fairly often. Anyways, that's enough rambling for now. Thanks for listening, and good luck on all your parries. Here's a fun clip I got while doing the Duos Crypts as a solo before it was patched out.
Sal the Mender. Sal the Mender, show yourself. Sal the Mender. Calling Sal the Mender.
That's me.
It's time to fight.
Yes, come. Let us engage in honorable battle.
Yes, good.
Back.
I killed your ally. How many of those do you have? Jesus. I didn't want to, but you're gonna make me. Bro, stop.